Hello and welcome to another half hour of business talk here on Big Centre TV. Later in the show this week, we'll be chatting with a businessman who's got top-level sporting credentials, including involvement at 2 Olympic Games. First, though, the focus is very much on manufacturing. My first guest this week's been a familiar face on the local business scene for some time, in several different guises. She's a former Chief Executive of Business Link West Midlands, but is currently involved with West Midlands Manufacturing Consortium and the Manufacturing Advisory Service based in Dudley. It's now part of the Business Growth Service, offering support to local companies with the potential to improve and grow. Lorraine Holmes, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Carl.
You are a local person immersed in local business, aren't you? Tell us a bit about your background.
Well, I am. After sort of 18 years in the private sector, I saw a job advertised to move into business support, and having latterly been involved in a couple of acquisitions by foreign-owned companies of UK companies, I came in with a mission to support the growth of UK business and UK manufacturing, and I've never lost that passion in the last 16 years, to be honest.
Because one of the things that is often thrown at business support organisations, unfairly I think, is that it's not necessarily always staffed with people who've been there, done it, seen the other side of the fence and have got actual practical experience. But that's certainly not the case these days, is it?
And certainly not the case for the Manufacturing Advisory Service. I mean, all of my management team have had first-hand experience in the private sector, and all of my business growth managers have been production managers. Some of them have run their own manufacturing companies, and that's one of the credentials. They've got to be credible when they're out there talking to the business community.
Explain a little bit then basically about what the Manufacturing Advisory Service is. What is it, where are you based and how does it all work?
Well, the Manufacturing Advisory Service has been around for 12 years now, but it has evolved as everything else has, and is now part of the Business Growth Service, which is an umbrella brand really for all of the services that government funds that are of use to growth-oriented businesses. So in that family, we've got what was Growth Accelerator, UKTI are in there, Patent's office, for example. So we've got a lot of things, and including the Manufacturing Advisory Service. Very much focused on ambitious businesses who want to grow. We deal with all of the manufacturing companies within that, and another part of the Business Growth Service deals with non-manufacturing companies. And basically what we aim to do is provide all the support that an aspirational growth-oriented manufacturing business needs to enable it to move forward with its strategy.
So I guess you're quite a barometer then on the ground at the health of the manufacturing sector in the West Midlands at the moment. And how are we fixed?
Absolutely. And because we work nationally as well, we're nationally networked, I think what's brilliant for me, particularly being a local girl, is to see how well the West Midlands and Birmingham Black Country are doing in relation to the national picture. And times are good for manufacturing companies. We've had some really tough times. What tends to happen is manufacturing, and therefore this region, tends to go into recessions fast and hard, but the good news is that they come out of them at the forefront as well. But we have some exciting things going on in this region, which means that there's never been a better time to be a manufacturer than now.
Do you think the Black Country and Birmingham area gets enough recognition for just how large the manufacturing sector still is around here?
I don't think it does really, and I think part of that is our culture. We tend to keep our heads down and get on with it. But I think one of the expansion of Jaguar Land Rover, actually apart from really giving a lot of vitality to the sector, is getting people to look and focus on it. There is a danger, however, that they think that we're only about metal bashing and we're only about automotive. But in fact, that's not the case. I mean, we've got medical, we've got lighting, we're supplying to offshore industry. And that is one of the ways in which our businesses can diversify, using those skills that they've picked up in our traditional strengths, such as automotive, and move into the new emerging areas of opportunity, such as the development of offshore wind, such as the development of nuclear. On the back of HS2 is another example where massive government investment is going in, and our businesses have exactly the right skills to be part of the supply chain for those initiatives.
It's interesting, we're talking about skills. I was chatting to a couple of companies that are in the construction sector the other week, and they were saying exactly this point, that there's this perception when it comes to youngsters looking for a career still that construction is all about digging holes, and it's so much more than that. You know, these companies are at the cutting edge of technology, and if you get a career in manufacturing, can take you in so many different directions now, can't it?
And the way it's evolving in terms of the technology, smart factories of the future, where you've got integrated machine systems. You know, these are very good careers that are on offer, and engineering is now the third highest paid graduate career. So anyone that wants a good career with a good future should be looking at engineering right now.
Do you think there's still a bit of a challenge in actually educating people further down the chain and getting at people at a younger age to inform them about this?
Absolutely there is. And I mean, one of the stuff I do outside of my day job, one of the things I'm involved with, for example, is the academy school, which is associated with Warwick University, which is encouraging people from the age of 14 to 19 to go to a specialist school with a view to then graduating onto hopefully Warwick University to do their engineering degree. We've had a phenomenal response there, really phenomenal response. If you present it, you know, for example, we're using 3D printing, we get an open day, we get the kids to design something, and then with the use of 3D printing, they can make the item they've designed by the afternoon. That begins to really switch them on to making stuff being sexy.
And that's also really important in actual work readiness, isn't it? Because academically, they might be full of qualifications, but there's still this feeling, isn't there, among some businesses that youngsters are not coming out completely work ready from a practical point of view.
Don't get me started on one of my hobby horses, which is the difference between competency and skills. And government focuses on the skills agenda, which they want to measure, which they're measuring qualifications. That is not necessarily the same as having a person who's competent. I always talk about the can they, will they equation, because it's that combination of have they actually got the basic abilities, have they got the right attitude, have they got the experience. All of that combines to give a competent person in the workplace. And our traditional methods don't necessarily deliver all of that, which is why things like the apprenticeship schemes and the academy schools, I think, are potentially a way forward.
It's the one-stop shop idea as well, isn't it? I mean, very much like your organisation does now, and like the Business Links did in the past.
Yeah.
It's knowing that perhaps somebody can knock on a door and find multiple expertise all in one place.
Well, the good thing about the Business Growth Service now is we are genuinely the only place they need to go. We will assign an account manager who's a manufacturing expert. They'll sit down and do a strategic view with the company that says, OK, where do you want to go? What are the barriers to that growth? Is it finance? Is it skills? Is it the need for investment? Whatever it is, and then they will help introduce the company to the solutions to that problem, whether it's investment houses, whether it's colleges, whether it's universities, whatever. So we can literally, whether it's international trade, they're interested in UKTI, reshoring is a big theme right now, which is where we're moving production that went overseas back to the UK. One of the things to enable that is the introduction to a local supply chain. And because our guys are so well networked, we've got a couple of examples where products have been reintroduced to the UK, and our guys have actually done that facilitation of putting the providers in and connecting them to companies that can make it in the UK. So those are just a few examples of the kind of things we're doing.
And that sort of end of it, from a job satisfaction point of view for you, must be great. Give us an idea of some of the other case studies. Have you got a sort of random 3 or 4 examples?
We've got some brilliant examples. We've got a medical technology company who actually, there was a product which was being made out of metal in China to do with eye surgery. They did an innovation and resourced it, so they decided to get it made out of plastic. We introduced them to a plastic moulding company, and the benefits of this are phenomenal. They've brought that back into the UK, they've created new jobs, and it will save the NHS and other health organisations around the world billions of pounds, because the unit cost of this is so much cheaper and it's so much more effective, and it's brought jobs back to the UK. We've got a lighting company, and again, they were sourcing things in Poland, which we've enabled them to very rapidly, because of some threats to the supply chain, introduce them to companies who've been able to produce their new product ranges entirely in the UK. Again, that's created about 17 new jobs, which is fantastic.
And it all builds up a picture, doesn't it? A tapestry of a really strong backbone to a
Absolutely,
manufacturing
and again,
sector.
because we helped a foundry company, so it's not all the sexy stuff. A good old black country foundry company from Cradley Heath to get investment from the Regional Growth Fund to buy some new foundry equipment, which again has enabled them to reshore stuff that they'd put overseas and created jobs. So it's across the board, really. It really is exciting times.
So final question then, really. Your message to the manufacturing businesses out there, are they doing enough? Are there things you could do to help them? Should they be contacting you more? What's the general picture? In an ideal world, how would you like to see your business and your role evolving?
Well, I mean, what I'd say is if you're a manufacturing business that's interested in growth and feel that you've got opportunities to grow, come and talk to us, because we can make that journey easier, quicker for you than if you try and go it alone. So really just pick up the phone and give us a call.
Lorraine Holmes, thank you very much. And we must have you back onto the sofa some other time for maybe a loose women chat next time, perhaps.
I'd love that.
Lorraine, thank you very much. After the break, I'll be catching up with a business owner with Olympic credentials on his CV and finding out why his latest venture is very much a hands-on operation. Welcome back. My second guest this week is an experienced sports injury specialist who's been involved in 2 Olympic Games and worked with British teams. He's taken over the Lilleshall Clinic based at the National Sports Centre here in the West Midlands, and he's working with clients from a host of different backgrounds across the area. Jamal Mashlab, welcome, and Alan Penton, who is one of the gentlemen who's benefited from Jamal's work. Now, I'm right in saying you're approaching your first anniversary as head of the
on the 14th of June. It'll be 1 year since I've taken over the Lilleshall Clinic.
Now, people may notice that's not a black country accent you've got there, Jamal. What's your background then? Where have you come from?
Well, I'm originally from Spain, from the Canary Islands of all places. So I chose to come to a different island, just a little bit bigger.
Not quite as sunny.
Not quite as sunny, that's for sure. But yeah, so I've been in the UK now for about a good part of 17, 18 years. And I've enjoyed every minute of it.
And obviously, launching this sports clinic in the Midlands can only be done when you've got a fairly impressive CV behind you of things that you credentials that prove that you know what you're doing and you're at the top of your game. And you've been involved with, as I said there, Olympic teams, cutting edge sports. Mm-hmm. Tell us how that all came about then.
Well, I've always had a keen interest in sport. I used to be an international trampolinist myself. So I competed for Spain internationally, and I've had a lot of injuries myself in the past. And as a youngster, I was exposed to physiotherapy quite a bit due to my injuries, etc. And that really sparked my interest in the profession. And I was lucky enough that when I qualified, I sort of geared my interest towards physiotherapy and sport. And got lucky really in the sense that I got the break of starting to work in different sports. I worked for rugby a little bit up north in Newcastle, and then because of my gymnastics background, I got invited to interview for a position with British Gymnastics. And
that's based at Lilleshall.
That's based at Lilleshall, and I've been there ever since.
So what then persuaded you to take the leap from working for a sporting organisation to setting yourself up as a businessman then?
Well, it's interesting because I've been involved in the elite setup for many years now, and I've got lots of friends and family who always come and ask me about, you know, can you see this injury, can you see that injury, etc. And people always go to clinics and see people and that sort of thing. And it got me thinking, you know, there's nowhere that I've seen, at least in the West Midlands area in Shropshire, where there's a setup that includes everything that a patient might need under one roof. So, and then I thought, well, you know what, this is exactly what we do in elite sport. So an athlete is at the center of everything. Then we've got doctors, we've got physios, we've got sports massage therapists, psychologists, nutritionists, etc. So all the professionals around the athlete. Well, my idea is to bring that model into the Lilleshall Clinic. And that's exactly what we've done in the last year. So a patient comes to us and they have every need covered in a sense, including a state-of-the-art rehab gym, which sets us apart in the sense that we're bringing all of our expertise in elite sport and offering it to the public.
So now, Alan, I know you live in Wolverhampton, but you've been on the sporting side both as a competitor, an organiser, an administrator, and you're now working with Jamal. So tell me from the horse's mouth then, is he any good?
I'd like to say
I've
been his guinea pig for many years. I have a life of professional sport, both playing and coaching and management. I worked at Lilleshall for a number of years, and I've been involved with the centre since 1978. But my first involvement with the rehab clinic was from the mid-80s when I worked with the FA there and was the county coach. During my career, I've had numerous injuries. I've had 12 major operations, and latterly it's been my knees, because I'm a keen skier, but I'm not a good skier. So I keep falling over, and Jamal keeps patching me up and putting me back out there again. But I can't speak highly enough of the clinic over the years and what they've done, both for professional sports people and for the amateur.
That's one of the important things, though, isn't it, Alan? Because there is a perception that it's only your elite sports people that either have access to these sort of facilities or need these sort of facilities or can afford these sort of facilities. But it's broad, isn't it, now?
In terms of amateur sports people, there's no reason at all why they shouldn't use the Lilleshall Clinic and mingle with what they would perceive to be the stars of sport. But, I think it's for everyone there. I think the major issue with Lilleshall is people don't really know about it. And if they were more aware of it, then I think they would use it more. And certainly I've benefited greatly from it. Of course, I've been operating both inside and outside Lilleshall, so I know well about it. But I think promotion of what they do is really key to making sure that people understand they can go there and you don't have to be a professional sports person.
I think, and back to Jamal really on that one, one of the questions I was going to ask you is, how do you go about promoting a business like this?
Well, funny enough, the business that we're in really is based on word of mouth for the most part. It's providing excellence to people, really. And if you provide a good service to your patients, they will tell others. And opportunities like this, having a chat with yourself and with Alan and that sort of thing, it hopefully spreads the word out, because Alan hit the nail on the head when people think that the National Sports Centre is only for elite athletes. It's actually open to the public. Anybody can go there. Anybody can use the facilities. And we are open to the public as a clinic, the Lilleshall Clinic.
As far as the West Midlands goes, it's unparalleled with its setup, isn't it? I mean, you have to travel a long way to find a centre like that across the country.
Probably the closest is London. So we have state-of-the-art facilities that are second to none to elite sport. And it is, as I say, open to the public. And we get a lot of consultants nowadays that refer to us specifically to get their patients rehab to full fitness because of the facilities that we offer and the expertise.
As a businessman, I mean, obviously, it's very interesting because what we're talking here, it sort of skirts the edge of a business story or a sports story. And obviously, I'm looking at things more from a business point of view. What's the biggest challenge for you when it comes to actually trying to make a business like this profitable and expanding?
The challenge for us is awareness in a lot of cases. People in where we are, because we are not on the high street, and therefore is spreading the word and letting people know that we are there and we actually offer some of the best service in the country, not just in the West Midlands. So from a business perspective, that's a small challenge, to be honest. But what we are finding that because of what we offer, it's not become a challenge anymore. It's just people spreading the word, and more we're seeing people coming through the doors.
How many people do you employ then now at the centre?
We are a staff of 7. We've got 4 physiotherapists, all expert in their field, all at very senior levels and specialists in their fields. We've got massage therapists, we've got a podiatrist, a sports physician, where we can scan injuries, we can inject injuries right on site if we need to. And we also have a wider sort of network of professionals. So we have contacts with surgeons, we've got contacts with imaging facilities, all at the fingertips, and we can refer people just like that and get them sorted quickly.
And I imagine, I mean, one of the things I can't let you go without asking you, I imagine from a networking point of view, it can't hurt that you've worked with the British teams, that you've worked at 2 Olympics. What was it like? What was it like being part of the Olympic setup?
To sum it up, it's a privilege. It's an absolute privilege, and it's an opportunity that very few have, and it's quite surreal. It's you kind of particularly when you go to an Olympic Games, you live in a bubble, an absolute bubble, and you know, you'd be walking down the street in the Olympic Village, and Usain Bolt would just cross the road and say hello to you. It's bizarre. I remember in Athens Olympic Games, I was sitting in the dining hall, which seats 5,000 people. It's ridiculous. And Tony Blair walked in with Cherie Blair, and they sat next to me, and we had lunch and had a chat. So it really is unbelievable, and it's an absolute privilege to be there, to be part of the Olympic setup, to work with some of the best athletes ever existed, in you know, not just in this country but in the world, and to be considered good enough to work with them. It's fantastic.
So, Alan, are we going to see you back on the football field then now as a result of
well, the inspiration's there. The mind wants to do it, but the body's not willing anymore. But I'd just like to reinforce what Jamal said. I mean, you can go to Lilleshall, you will see lots of potential stars there of the future as well, but you don't have to be one to be treated there. And that's the magic of Lilleshall.
Excellent. Gents, thank you for joining us. We need another programme to talk all about Jamal's Olympic behind-the-scenes stories, I think, so we may well have you back in the studio for that.
I can certainly write a book.
Thank you very much for that. That's all we've got time for on Midlands Business Update this week. Join us next week for more chat about the local economy.